Hey guys, I want to welcome you back to Pistons Talk Podcast post-game show. Pistons got done playing the Boston Celtics tonight. We're going to do a game recap, go over quarter notes, then open up the show to comments, questions, overall thoughts with tonight's game. So if you have anything you want to talk about after I'm done going over these quarter notes, drop a comment in the comment section if you are watching live on YouTube. First thing, no Sasser, no Levert. They're still both injured. Sasser has a hip thing, and Levert went from questionable to doubtful. So we have to kind of monitor what is going on with Karis Levert. This first quarter was very reminiscent of the Chicago first quarter, where they came out really slow. They weren't coming out focused, and the Celtics took full advantage of that. The Celtics came out really aggressive defensively. Cade got two quick fouls. He had one reach in, one contested jump shot with Peyton Pritchard. Boston was just playing faster and more physical very early on into this first quarter. About the last 3 or 4 minutes or so, Javonte Green, Isaiah Stewart really, caused havoc. They brought energy, and they closed this first quarter on a 10-2 run to get this game within reach. The end of the first quarter was 33-24. Coming out of the second quarter, Boston got this lead back up to a 13-point lead with back-to-back threes from Peyton Pritchard and Jaylen Brown. Pistons got it down to 7, and then they really surged the second half of the second quarter. And between the second quarter all the way down to the fourth, that was a more focused Detroit Pistons team, in my personal opinion. Tobias was hitting shots. Isaiah Stewart was contributing. Asar Thompson, who we'll probably talk about it throughout this podcast, had a really great game, had a double-double. Jalen Duren, I felt, really woke up in the second quarter, was really focused, crashed the glass. There's nothing Boston could really do with him. But Pistons going to halftime with a 60-58 lead. Coming out of halftime, the ball movement was great. Jalen was getting to the free throw line. If you look at the box score for Jalen Duren tonight, 11 out of 12 from the free throw line, which is actually a career high from the FanDuel broadcast. They had mentioned that. And when you're hitting 11 out of 12 free throws, that's great as a center. You don't really see that too often from big men hitting free throws at that high of a clip. And the defense really stepped up. Boston was really having a difficult time getting settled in the half court. They were very disruptive, whether it was Ron Holland, whether it was Asar, Cade fighting over the top of screens. The defense really stepped up, and the Pistons end the third quarter with a 94-81 lead. Going into the fourth, Pistons were up at 15, as much as 15 points in this one. Celtics cut the lead down and made it a very interesting fourth quarter down the stretch. It was a 4-point lead for the Pistons for, the last 3 or 4 minutes of this game. Pistons really rebounded the ball. Duncan Robinson hit a very timely 3-point shot late in the fourth quarter. But the offensive rebounding, to me, I think is what really helped them secure the win. The rebounding just in total was a big reason why I felt that the Pistons were able to give Boston their third straight loss to start the season. Pistons win this game 119-113, led by Jalen Duren and Asar Thompson in this one. Both of them had double-doubles in this one. Jalen Duren finished with 24 points, 17 rebounds, and 2 block shots. Asar Thompson finished with 21 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. Cade Cunningham dropped a cool 25 points, 8 assists. Have to get the turnovers down with Cade a little bit. He had 6, but Boston was blitzing him like crazy. That was probably the most aggressive blitzing I've seen out of any NBA team so far. And it was a good game. It was a really good game. I do want to open up the show to comments and questions, overall thoughts. I do see that we have a few in the live chat. So let's open up the show if you guys are watching live on YouTube right now. First comment of the show, one of our regulars, AFBH. Winning record by game 3, already doing better than last season. 100%. If you remember last season, the Pistons started off 0-5. They're 2-1 right now. They have a back-to-back tomorrow against the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's a Peacock game. So you're going to have to get Peacock if you want to watch the game tomorrow. But much improved. I think just the lack of focus to start off the games, the Chicago game and tonight, you can't have games like that every night. You got to come out focused. You got to come out ready to just be aggressive and score and set the tone. But 2-1 in the first 3 games is a big improvement from JB Bickerstaff and the Detroit Pistons. Comment from Dolly. Jalen Duren will get his 30 mil if he keeps hitting 85% of his free throws and develop that mid-range. I feel like we get very reactionary every post-game show, and that is completely okay. I am probably one of the most reactionary people you'll ever meet in your life. If you guys have ever met me, you know that. JD was excellent. I thought going into this game, the Pistons had a very good opportunity to just dominate the Celtics front court. I mean, you guys saw their front court. They have Chris Boucher playing big-time minutes. They have one-time Piston Luka Garza coming off the bench. Their front court is very weak. It's very depleted. No more Kristaps Porzingis, who really helped them. They lost Luke Cornett, who was a backup center, who's actually in San Antonio right now. They lost a lot of contributors in the front court that really helped them, win those rebounding battles. And I thought JD, Sar Thompson, even Isaiah Stewart for that matter, really had a great game against them, because that's where the Celtics are weakest at, is in the front court with their centers and their power forwards. Comment from Jack. What are your thoughts on LeVert? Seems like he's always on the injury list. The one thing I will say about LeVert, Jack, is he was kind of dealing with something during the preseason, and I don't know how serious it was. The team didn't really say anything. They just said he was day-to-day. But it's 2 straight games of no Caris LeVert. And obviously we want to see him out there. We want to see him play. But I would be lying to you if I said I don't love the opportunities for Ron Holland, love the opportunities for Asar, Javonte Green, who I think has stepped up tremendously in his role. Now, he's not going to fill up the box score every night, but what he does provide is defense, rebounding, and, he can hit a couple of threes. It is a little bit concerning, though, because you did give him a mid-level exception, and that's the one thing that I think a lot of us talked about was, he hasn't been the healthiest throughout his career, and, he might not be able to go through a full 82-game season. You'd be lucky to get 65 games out of a Caris LeVert, but we're going to have to wait and see what the full details are with his injury and when he will come back. I know he went from doubtful to questionable, which means that he's getting closer to a return, but we'll see. We'll see. What's the story with the University of North Carolina half-zip sweater? Okay, the story with that is being in Michigan, a lot of my friends are either Michigan State or Michigan fans. I'm not either. I'm a UNC fan at heart. I've always been a UNC fan. I've been a UNC fan since I was a little kid. So that is the story, or the reason why I am wearing a University of North Carolina sweater. But appreciate, the comments. I know it has nothing to do with the game, but I did want to answer that for people wondering why I'm wearing a UNC half-zip sweater right now. Got a comment from the Detroit Brazil Pistons. Hey, shout out, man, from your favorite Brazilian friend. Go Pistons. Love it. Haven't seen you in one of these podcasts in a while. Hope you're doing well, my friend. We're international, baby. We got Brazilian fans. I mean, shout out to Tom. I don't know if you guys have seen Tom, Korean Piston fan. He's been getting the red carpet. He's probably experienced more in 72 hours than most of us have in a lifetime. It's honestly cool to see Tom just get that red carpet treatment. I'm so happy for him. Wes Weaver, do you think we need Malik? I'll say this. They have an open roster spot. Would adding Malik Beasley 3-point shooting help? Yes. Do we need him? It's a long NBA season. Guys get hot and cold. I think if he does get cleared of the charges, which I think that's what the Pistons and other NBA teams are waiting for, he'll be on an NBA team. Now, is that with the Pistons? I'm not sure. Someone had told me today that he was actually watching the Pistons game. If you go over on his social media, he was watching the Pistons Celtics. So Malik's locked in. He obviously wants to come back to the NBA, but it's just a wait and see type of thing with these investigations. We've seen so many investigations over the past 48 hours with the Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, Terry Rozier scandals. They did say that Malik wasn't related to that investigation, but they're still investigating him separately with the NBA doing theirs and the federal investigation, if you guys aren't really aware of what's been going on with Malik. But yeah, the short answer to that is absolutely. I think if you have the ability to bring back a guy that set a franchise record in three-pointers made in a single season, do it. I know we have Duncan Robinson. I know we have Karis LeVert, but I mean, having a shooter like that, having a guy that is familiar with JB and the Detroit Pistons staff, I would do it. But that's just me. I know some people probably wouldn't want to bring Malik Beasley back, but appreciate the question, Wes. Hope you're doing well. Got a comment from Midnight. Love seeing the Stu, Asar Thompson, Ron lineup. Ferocious defense leading the quick transition points. Yeah, I love seeing all three of those guys out there, the dog pound as they call themselves, including Jalen Duren. But to kind of get to your point, Midnight, yeah, I love seeing those guys out there. They're just disruptors of the way that they can defend, the way that they push transition. And I think a lot of teams early on are realizing how physical and how energetic Isaiah Stewart and Ron Holland are. And then just the aggressiveness we've seen out of Asar Thompson these past two games is great to see. I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Asar Thompson these past two games. I'm going to start calling Ron 5-hour energy because he's just instant shots of juice. That's probably the funniest comment we've got. 5-hour energy. I don't know if anyone's listening, but that would be an insane collab with Ron Holland wearing number 5 and doing a 5-hour energy commercial. If that does happen, we can claim it. We can claim it up on this podcast because AFBH had that comment. But man, that's probably the funniest comment I've seen tonight. Sarin Duren driving this team from Ryan Kelly. Yeah, I mean, just their ability to both rebound the ball. You've seen like how important Asar is, how important Duren is, especially when he got ejected from that Rockets game. Like the guy had 17 rebounds tonight, got to the free throw line a lot, had 2 block shots. Jalen Duren is a very important part of this team. He's just got to calm down on the fouls, calm down on the physicality and the antics that do come with it. I understand he's 21 years old. He's still learning the game of basketball, which is just wild to think about because we drafted him at 18 and he's still learning and he's only 21. So I have to remind myself that constantly. I feel like sometimes I do come off a little hard on Jalen Duren at times, but I mean, you're seeing the importance of having a starting center that can crash the glass, hit his free throws, and just be a mismatch nightmare for a team like the Celtics tonight. I really miss Ivy. Yeah, we all do, man. We should be getting an update in a couple of weeks of how his surgery is going and how his rehab is going. Another comment from Jack. Why do you think we didn't bring back Tim Hardaway Jr.? Feel like he's not getting as much playing time in Denver. From what Trajan said recently on a podcast, Jack, he had told Tim that like if we were to bring you back, it would be on a significant lesser role because they really wanted to give Jaden Ivey all the opportunities in the world. Now, in hindsight, Jaden Ivey gets injured and THJ isn't getting as much clock in Denver as a veteran minimum guy, not getting a whole lot of clock with the Nuggets, who have a very stacked deep team. I think it's a situation where if Trajan knew Jaden Ivey was going to get injured or have kind of like the setback, he may have wanted to bring him back. I'm not entirely sure. I felt like Tim was just he's a good vet. He was like a good vibes type of vet that, help these young kids hit some timely 3-point shots. But I know a lot of you guys crashed out over Tim Hardaway because of the inconsistency and the defense. But I'm wishing Tim well in Denver. I think Denver has a very good shot to be a top team and possibly come out of the West. Should we sign Spencer Dinwiddie? He already signed with the team over in Europe, actually, Wes. So not too surprising. I'll just say this. I really don't think Spencer would ever come back here. Just off of conversations I've had with people that know Spencer and other people that have worked for the Detroit Pistons organization, like former coaches. Spencer still has a lot of bad blood with the Pistons for the way he was treated, but I'm wishing him well overseas. Maybe he'll make a comeback in the NBA. I just don't think it'll be with the Detroit Pistons. Sorry if you guys can hear my neighbor's dog. He just barks all day. I have a question. Who's more likely to become Cade's Robin, Ivy or Asar? Ooh, great question. I think if we're just being reactionary and going off like these past 2 games, Asar Thompson looks like he's going to be a force this year. And him getting those on-ball reps that would be honestly Jaden Ivey's on-ball reps, you're starting to see more confident Asar Thompson. And I'm kind of walking around this question. I think as of right now, and it's October 26th. So if you guys want to clip this or try to make me look bad if, Jaden Ivey comes back and he's balling. I think right now it's Asar. Ivy's just got to stay healthy. And I'm interested to see how he does next to Cade Cunningham in the backcourt. But for right now, I think Asar is that number 2 option next to Cade Cunningham. It is quote unquote Robin. But it's so reactionary. We're only 3 games in. But I'm still very high on Jaden Ivey. It's just he's got to stay healthy for me. If Stu can keep hitting threes at this clip, then let's have more minutes of Stu and Duren. Give Paul Reed some minutes. Question from Dante. He did hit a corner 3. There were some double bigs out there. JB was kind of throwing it out there, I think, late in the first quarter just to get some energy. If Stu's going to be hitting threes, he's going to be stretching the floor and spreading out the defense. I think that's how it does work with the double big lineup. Stu has shown the ability to hit threes. He's actually a pretty good 3-point shooter on this team. I'm interested to see, though, how much more of Stu Duren lineups we'll get, or even, Stu Paul Reed lineups. But it's so difficult probably to find minutes for Paul Reed because you have 2 centers in Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren. Paul Reed was phenomenal in that Houston game. He stepped up. I think he was a big reason why they won that game. But that is such a good problem to have if you're the Pistons. You have 3 centers on this roster that you can plug and play regardless whether it's foul trouble, ejections, injuries, whatever it may be. But I hope B-Ball Paul can get some minutes because every time he does play, he shows out. He's productive. So I do want to get to a couple of more questions with you guys. I've been screaming for Duren Stu lineups for a minute. Imagine the defense with them too and Asar roaming. I mean, we did have those 2 big lineups under Dwayne Casey, but this was when Isaiah Stewart was still developing as a 3-point shooter. Didn't really have too much success with it under Monty. JB decided that him being a backup center last year was better for the team and that roster construction. But I think you will see more of these double big lineups because Stu has developed even more as a 3-point shooter. Jalen Duren has gotten better in the low post. He's just got to do a better job and be more alert. I think sometimes with dribble handoffs, he had one today where it was like kind of like a no look pass to Duncan, and Duncan didn't get it. The Celtics stole it because they knew it was coming. But yeah, the double big lineups with Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren, I think we're going to see more of it. Asar Roaming as a defender, I think is just a nightmare. These past 2 games, he's just looked really, really good. But it'll be interesting to see. We play the Cavs tomorrow, which is a team that does like to play double bigs with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. I don't know if JB is going to try to match that with Kenny Atkinson going double bigs, throwing JD and Isaiah Stewart out there to match Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. But it should be a good game tomorrow. Again, that's at 7:00 on Peacock. Won't be on FanDuel at all. They won't be broadcasting it. So you either have to buy a Peacock subscription, or if you guys are smart and you know where to find the games, that's all I'm going to say. There is a way to watch a basketball game without getting a Peacock subscription. I'm not getting another streaming service in trouble because RIP Streamies. But it should be a good game. I'll do one more question from Jack, and then we'll wrap this up. What are your thoughts on Duncan so far? Kind of expected, like what I've seen. The Chicago game, I think, was really out of character for him. Has a bounce back game in Houston, really crashed the glass, had a couple of blocks, hit some big time shots, had over 20 points. And then tonight, had 8 points. Didn't really do as well as I thought he could have, but I think if you rewatch the game, he was getting the ball very quickly and he wasn't set up as much. But I think with Duncan, it'll be similar to THJ where like there'll be nights where he scores 20 points and he's a flamethrower, but there'll also be nights like tonight where he only scores 8 points and maybe he's not as productive as we want him to be, especially being in the starting lineup. But I think that's just kind of the Duncan Robinson experience. Like he's a streaky shooter. Shooters are streaky. They're not always going to be consistent, but I really can't really say anything bad. I mean, like, who else are you going to play in his spot? Like Chaz Lanier, even though he did get some clock tonight, he's looked okay. It hasn't really looked like the game is too fast for him. He's made sound decisions, but I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, like that's your starting shooting guard until Jaden Ivey does get cleared and he's done with his rehab, and Duncan would probably go back on your bench along with Karis LeVert. But overall, I really do like what I'm seeing out of Duncan Robinson. The difference is THJ was not bad on defense. Okay, like if we're gonna be like try to have revisionist history, THJ was good for a charge. It felt like he got a charge all the time. Both of them are not good defenders. They're not known for their defense. I mean, if you want to debate who's a better defender between Tim and Duncan, I'll let you guys do that. I'm not getting into that. That's a debate I know I'll lose because you guys will just be very passionate and strong about it. But I'm not coming up here going to debate who's a better defender, Tim Hardaway Jr. or Duncan Robinson. We will be back tomorrow. I do want to give you guys a little update. We did an interview later on this evening with a Cleveland Cavaliers content creator. That will be published tomorrow morning. We kind of previewed the Cavs offseason, kind of like what we've been doing. If you guys have been catching these, we've been doing these pregame shows and postgame shows. So we'll have a pregame show scheduled out tomorrow morning with the Cavs reporter or Cavs content creator, excuse me. And then we'll do a postgame show after the Cavs Pistons game. And that'll probably be like around 10 o'clock, like 10:45. Not really sure. I might schedule it a little earlier. Who knows? Depends on the foul calls on this game and like how bad the officials are. But we'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Take care and have a good night. Peace.